We talked obviously about product fit as being that kind of the stage when we go from sort of startup to a sort of, that mid growth stage. What is product fit to you? How do you tend to sort of define it in the sort of companies that you've worked for?
You heard the phrase, you know it when you see it.
I have, or hear it, or
to it. Yeah. So one of the things that you have to think about is your total available market, and your investors, rightly so, are asking all the time, how big is this market? How big's the prize? And what the art and science there is to define that early traction of, remember we talked about the market segments and the use cases. So you want to be able to show that and capture that total available market for the use cases and the market segments you're going to serve, with an eye towards what other applications that you can do. And so product market fit is when your sales cycles and your buying cycles start to go down. You can see it because I need that, I get it. So you're starting to get it. You're watching the adoption and usage of your actual solution, software, technology faster. So you see acceleration when you're getting product market fit. And the third sign is when you're getting that feedback, when you're getting more of those advocates in your community on board, and your customers are starting to talk about, they're saying tangible things about your solution. It helped me solve X or Y. It really made a difference in A, B, or C. Those are signals that you're looking for in product market fit. Once you know that, then you can open the spigot, so to speak, and be more assertive and aggressive in going after those market segments. And that's where the more traditional, when we talk about demand gen marketing, starts to kick in. Okay, let's turn this up. You probably have added some deeper digital talent or deeper demand talent. Your probably marketing team goes from a single person to another person who does analytics or data science. Again, you can start with this if you have the right funding and everything's in line, but you have to build into it.
Fine. And what about the tech that kind of supports a bigger team then? What point would you start thinking about that? Earlier on, or this sort of stage when you're starting to sort of open up those taps?
Today, really early on. And the difference today is, I don't know if it's changed, but I think we're much wiser. A few years ago, we would go and, hey, we have CRM, a marketing automation system that does some email, and we have a couple of tools. Today, we have a much more savvy marketers who are coming in. But the difference that I learned in this case is I would build from the company out. What I mean by that is whatever systems I put in marketing must talk to all company systems. Okay. Because oftentimes you're under so much pressure, you're feeling it like, we need pipeline, we need this, we need that. You go, forget it. I'm just going to put in my marketing tools and systems that I know, which is great because you have to make traction, but there's no thinking about how they connect to finance and operations, and how about the product input I want to get into my systems. So I know product market fit. I know what customers are doing. How about customer success? Do you want that data in there? Because I know in a year I'm going to need to be able to run my programs in place for my existing customer base, because expansion is a big part of our lifetime value strategy. So that's the difference, I think. And many people, many marketers think about that today more cognizantly, because you can't have silos. You have to be integrated today. And I think that's a big difference, Matt, between 3 or 4 years ago and the lessons we've learned.
No, indeed. And when we're sort of getting to that mid-market stage then, how does a sort of marketing team look to you in terms of structure then?
Yeah, I think what I see happening, your product marketing is probably built out by solutions. You have field marketing in place now that is working in the regions in market with the sales teams locking arms more aggressively. Your corp comm team is a bit more rounded out. So you have teams working with a team working with the analysts. You may have your website in that. Your digital team has deeper talent and more specialty. So there's maybe specialty that works on social, that works across search, that works across third-party paid media, you just start to see that it becomes more depth is brought to that team as you hit there. And there's no playbook for the exact rules on that. It's thinking that happens. I would say, though, that the difference, Matt, going back to your question, because there is a tech, you start to see things that are more account focused and more data rich a lot earlier today.
Yeah.
So there are tools that are maturing out there that you can bring in to help you really build your database, to really help you build your intelligence and signals. And man, today, what a difference. We can actually activate some of that. So that may, and I think it is, but it even may more in the future impact a little bit more tech-centric and data-centric earlier in this process than 7 or 8 years ago when I went through the process. And that's because there's more predictive intent. There's things that can be used. And if you can do it, you're building really good habits out of the gate. But that's tough. That's a tough call because you have to have the right amount of funding and support and have locked arms with sales and finance and even the executive team to be able to do that.